The era of metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Yeah! I am the light bringer. Now listen, fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end? There's way more to avenge. Oh, 50 million souls live in this realm without much hope. Not too
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our first ever episode of the World's Run Down Under. I'm, of course, Max Atlas Anderson, and I have two fantastic guests here with me today. The first one being my mentor, my coach, my close friend, general nice guy, and shoutcaster extraordinaire, Julian Pastry-Time-Car. Welcome, friend.
Thank you. That was a very movie voiceover
Yeah, that's what I was going
intro.
for.
Thank
yeah,
you.
what do you think?
I appreciated it. It was good.
And our next guest, of course, professional Oceanic player here for Team Immunity, formerly a StarCraft pro player and Blitzcrank extraordinaire here in the bot lane. It is going to be Bradley T-Gun Seymour. Welcome, friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good. That was a good intro. I think mine edged out Patriots just a
just a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Oh, look, it's
and
hit
I'll
or
take
miss.
it. I'll take it.
Yeah, with this guy, it's pretty much hit or miss. But in this episode, we are going to be doing a rundown of everything just to get you prepared for your Worlds experience. And we're going to begin by just having a quick look at the bracket. Of course, there are a gigantic amount of teams, and they are going to be playing it out in a group. And they're going to be 4 groups, and the top 2 teams from said groups, after they've played each other twice, will be heading to the finals in Seoul, Korea, to duke it out throughout the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the grand final, where we will be crowning our 2014 World Champion. And what we'd like to do now is just quickly go through every team and give you our opinions, just let you know exactly what's up. You know, it'll be biased, let's be honest, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So let's just quickly jump in to Group A, and I'm excited because this is Dark Passage, and I want them to win because they destroyed Legacy. And if they win, then that means that, Oceania must be fantastic
Yeah,
because, we lost to the best team in the world.
Yeah, you always want to win to the lose to the winners, right?
Yeah,
Something like
exactly.
that. I don't think it'll gonna happen though. let's be honest here. They're
I was being honest. Optimistic, but honest.
I mean they're bottom tier in Worlds.
Oh.
I don't mean bottom tier as a team. They're obviously incredible. They made it to Worlds. But against competition here, I don't think they have a shot.
Yeah, that's really the thing. I mean, they're coming in as an underdog team. Holy Phoenix looked really good
Yep.
on his Tristana throughout most of the wildcard qualifier. Getting that pentakill, of course, that was quite well known. But I don't know. It's one of those things where we don't expect much from this team, but that could be the thing that actually just propels them into a surprise few wins
Yeah.
here. And for them, honestly, they're probably just looking to go in, do their best, and just win some games. I mean, if they come out of this group, that's amazing, and they're going to feel really good. But they're just going to try and do whatever they can to get some wins under their belt and have a really good experience and take away whatever they can from such a prestigious tournament like Worlds.
Yeah, and it'd be pretty cool if we could call Dark Passage a dark horse because it'd be just a dark situation, kind of fun. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Let's go into the second team in Group A. It's going to be AHQ Esports Club coming over from the GPL. And this is a team that I don't know a whole lot about apart from Westdoor because Westdoor's just a beast. Julian,
Yeah, he's really
do you
good.
think he is just the whole team?
Yeah, this team is pretty much built around Westo and his aggression.
Yep.
He's got a really deep champion pool, loves playing as assassins, big Zed, big Fizz player, and of course one of the best-known Twisted Fate players pretty much in the world. One of the reasons that China and Taiwan are kind of the TF region long before anyone else really played that
Yep.
champion. They're aggressive. They always look to get Westo ahead and snowball games that way. Had a really strong showing in the last year and a half in the GPL. So we'll see what they can bring here, but see, again, one of those weaker regions coming into this tournament. And this is a tough group as well for them to try and get out of. But if any team's going to upset here, it's probably going to be Westo and AHQ.
Yeah.
We shall see.
But you might have, I'm going to call it the double F problem, where you put all your eggs in that one basket. What happens if he gets banned out? What happens if he gets counted? You're not going to see him absolutely decimate someone from, let's say, Edward Gaming. He's not going to just go out there and win his lane outright. So what happens when he doesn't come through and carry? Can his teammates, pull their own weight and get him through the game? And that's going to be the big focal point for his team in this group.
I just think that you're struggling to give mid lane the right amount of respect, being just solely from the bottom lane. I think that's what it is.
I've got to
There's some
represent
bias
my
here.
lane. You said we could. We're
I've got
biased.
to rep my lane.
We certainly are. So it's absolutely fine. And that brings us to the end of AHQ. Let's have a look at our third team in Group A. It's going to be the one, the only Samsung Galaxy White, although you can't really say the only because there's Samsung Galaxy Blue as well.
Yeah, it's a sister team. Come on.
And this is Pawn's team, and Pawn is the faker killer, as we saw in that final over at OGN. And man, these guys are looking so good.
This team is disgusting. Like,
Yep.
this is easily...
Pen droppingly disgusting.
Yeah, that's how good they are. They're so good I had to drop my pen. 5 incredible players in each role. The best in the world for some of their roles, most certainly, especially you think about their bottom lane. Imp and Marta.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely incredible duo. Marta, probably easily, I think, the best support in the world currently. And Dandy is likely the best jungler as well. So there's a lot of threats on this team. They're really, really good. And I think they're easily the favorites to not just top this group, but win the tournament.
Yeah. What do you think, Tegan? Do you think that their bottom lane's as godlike as this man says?
He's definitely right with Marta. Without a doubt in my mind, top support in the world. I know you disagree with me and think that Imp isn't the best ADC even at this tournament.
We'll get to that soon.
We'll get there. We'll
coming.
get there. But I'm going to go ahead and say Imp with Marta, he's not going to be beaten in lane this whole tournament. He's going to go through and pretty much, I don't want to say carry because you can't really carry a team like this, right? It's a huge team
exactly
effort.
right.
But they're going to just be unstoppable in the bot lane in this group.
Yeah. That is one of the things as well with bottom lane is that they are a duo no matter what. Like you can have an AD carry as good as and as talented as say Uzi from China, but there's another guy there. It's almost always a 2v2, and you're always running around with your partner babysitting him. Isn't that right, Tegan?
I wouldn't say babysitting. They can stand on their own like 20 minutes later. You just got to get them started.
You're raising them, basically. Throughout the game, it's like childhood. You're just like your little infant. You're carrying them around.
Like watching a dog grow up and, it gets to the point where it's nice and big and you can ride around on its back.
Yeah, that's it.
Like a mini horse.
Does that mean that you sort of really hate really fast games? It's sort of like you're breeding like a guide dog or something like that. You have to, I have to give them back to the shop and raise a new one.
It's unhealthy level of evolution happening in that way.
Okay. I think we're done. For Samsung White. Let's go to the final team in Group A. It's going to be, of course, Edward Gaming, coming in first seed from the Chinese LPL. And we're going to start with Tegan because we know this guy's just going to waffle on forever. Do it in your head for a bit, like just while we're having a conversation, and then you can finish off and it'll be great. Tegan, what do you think about Edward Gaming? Because they looked fantastic when they came in through first.
Any team that can dominate the LPL like they did, they're a top contender. I mean, you look at, let's skip ahead to LMQ just for a second here. We'll get to them later as well. But LMQ here in the LPL, and they still came through NA very, very strong. So look at Edward Gaming. They're number 1 in the LPL by far. They dominated the league. That means it's going to carry over. They're going to be phenomenal in this tournament. I think they're a contender to take it out, especially because people sort of go into it saying, China's not that far ahead of us. If you watched the Road to Worlds video, I believe it was someone from Cloud9 said that they don't think China's too far ahead of them. I think they're dead wrong. I think China's pretty much on the same level as Korea, just slightly below it. And Edward, probably top 3 in this tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it also looks like the Chinese meta does really well against the Korean meta as well, just because they're so aggressive. But Julian, we'll let you take us through because, of course, the LPL's your baby, and we know you just want to talk about it. So just go.
So EDG, really good team, obviously, as Tegan said, number 1 team coming through the LPL, dominating this entire year. Pretty much an OMG-esque performance from them this year. Born out of the remnants of World Elite, so Fizzle and Clearlove now on this team. And they took the best AD carry in China and put him with one of the best supports to ever play in Fizzle. So when you think about this team, they're full of great players, full of some really, really well-known names, but Name is far and away the star of this team. And I know you don't agree with me, Tegan, but I think Name is far and away the best AD carry in the world.
I think we're pretty lucky because we get to see Imp beat him in the group stages and then maybe even later as well.
Oh, some smack talk already.
Oh, man. I think actually that bottom lane matchup is one of the most exciting things about this group. And that's coming up soon as well, which is going to be awesome to watch. But Name, for my money, is just the best combination of Uzi's mechanical skill and Wei Zhao's just a brain and thinking and tactic ability. So Name, arguably the most cerebral player to ever play AD carry. For my money, the best AD at this tournament and actually in the world as well. But we'll have to see. I mean,
no bias, guys, of course. We mentioned earlier that
no bias at all. Have never been strongly associated with the Chinese league.
Yeah, no.
Not even.
What? What did you shoutcast? Something.
No.
Something.
What's an
Who even knows? No one watches whatever that guy does. Let's be honest. Wow, that was really rude. I watched
it's
it. I loved it.
It's okay.
All right. Let's go have a look at Group B now, which is my personal favorite group. All bias aside, actually no bias aside here. It's just my favorite group. But let's have a look firstly at the third-placed European LCS team, SK Gaming. Now, Tegan, do you think that there's sort of a lack of standout play, or do you think that works and helps with their cohesion?
It helps because they're able to get through everything as a team and they play so well as a team, but it might hurt them just because you can't look at them and say, this is their faker, for example. I guess you could call Freddy their top player,
I think I got way too excited about you, but
That was not intentional. I
There's going to
swear.
need to be some sort of system
Yeah.
where
Oh,
I
God.
sin bin you guys. That's
Yeah.
going to happen.
I'll
I'll
just
think it,
go
I'll have
off
to think of
into
it for
the
next
corner.
week, but this is happening. I'm going to have to give out red cards or something at some point.
can you wear a Katarina cosplay? While you do it?
No
Wow.
promises, but we might be able to organize something
Now
like
I'm
that.
disappointed.
I'm sorry.
I'm super
You
disappointed.
got my hopes up and just
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I'm on a lead.
kind of like what I believe SK is going to do to the European fans.
Yeah,
I don't think they're getting out of this.
wow.
I think so as well. Unfortunately, SK, the third place team from Europe, which is considered maybe one of the weaker regions.
Yep.
SK for me, they've never surprised me. I feel like they're a really solid team. They played really well. They obviously came third, qualified as the last European team for Worlds. So they're a good team. But if SK is going to cause some upsets, they're going to need to play really, really well. And I don't know. We'll see. If SK surprised me, I'll be very pleasantly surprised. That's for sure.
Well, Svenskeren did pretty fantastic things for me in the fantasy LCS, so I have faith. I have
That's
faith.
all that matters at the end of the day, right?
It doesn't matter.
It
if
is
they win or
important.
lose,
It
as long
is.
as you win fantasy LCS.
Yeah, and I didn't. Riot Benji actually wrecked me, so I was super sad. But let's get into the second team over in Group B. It is, of course, going to be Starhorn Royal Club qualifying second from the Chinese LPL. And Tigan, do you think that these guys have what it takes? Because, of course, there's a little bit of controversy going on about that bottom lane.
There's a little bit of ego issues, but I think they'll be able to put it aside and sort of just play their best in here. And if they play their best in this group, they're going to take the group no problem. You have Uzi. He has a little bit of an issue
Or
with
use
not
that
being-
eye.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, it's Uzi.
No.
It's
Okay,
Uzi.
sorry. Yep, right.
None of that.
All right, so I'll stop. It's fine.
If again, you would have been carded. Okay, that's funny to know that.
I'm not looking forward to next week.
There's a little bit of ego issues. He wants it all to center around him. I think he'll be able to, put that at the back of his head and just play his best. And if he can do that, he'll be able to shine through. Even if they don't center the comp around him, he's still going to be a phenomenal player, phenomenal AD in his own right, and they'll be able to carry that through and produce a good showing.
Yeah, you actually pretty much hit the nail on the head, Tigon. This is a team that was quite literally built around Uzi.
Yeah.
Everyone else left, either retired or moved to another team, of course. With Godlike leaving, now Ackerman playing for LMQ and NA,
Yep.
and both Whites and Tabe retiring, which was very sad. After the
Very
a
sad.
really
Tabe
strong-
was adorable.
That was such a sad story to watch.
Yeah. But they had a
It was good to retire when he did. He sort of
Oh,
retired
yeah.
on the top, but it just hurt to watch that.
It did.
But I
It
mean,
did.
a second place finish for him. He's obviously been on this stage before. Incredible player, absolutely stunning player. For better or worse, the team's performance pretty much hinges on Uzi. But if they play well, they've absolutely got a good chance of not just topping this group, but potentially making a good run for Worlds as well.
Yeah, not to mention Insec as well, who's come over from Korea on this team.
Yep, and Zero as well. They have two different Korean players. That was the only way they could fill the team, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was just like, we ran out of Chinese players. More Koreans needed.
Yep. And of course, I'm not going to say Insec's name anymore throughout this entire broadcast.
That's never been
That's
a
an
problem.
in-joke.
That's never been a problem.
Uh-huh.
You would have, again, you would have been cut.
Once more. I'm doing well.
How
I got a
many
couple of
cards
cards
do you get?
under my
3 or
belt.
4 right now.
All right, let's go have a look back at Group B and go to our next team. It's going to be the Taipei Assassins, of course, formerly winning in Season 2 a couple of years back, and only one member remaining, little Bibi in that bottom lane. Tigan, do you think that Bebe is going to have enough support with a new player? What do you think these guys
I
are about?
think it'll be fine. I mean, you know the coaching, the back staff, what goes on behind the scenes has to be phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
They got to Worlds, they won Worlds, and now they have a new team and they've made Worlds as well. You know, there's no question about it. They know what they're doing. They know how they're practicing, how to mesh. So I don't think there's going to be any teething issues, trying to make a whole new team mesh. They made it to Worlds. They did so convincingly as well. So I think they're a pretty good shot to go deep and maybe be the first repeat winners.
Yeah, another team like Royal that was kind of built in the ashes of a team that fell
Yep.
apart
Yeah.
after a really strong performance at Worlds. BB, as you said, the only surviving member of that team.
I never know whether to say Bibi or
I
Bebe.
think it's BB. It's
Yeah, let's
okay.
go with Bibi.
But
It's not much difference. I
it's
mean, come on.
again a very 80-centric team, much like Royal.
Yep.
But BB's been playing really well, and this team has taken a little while to kind of get going as a team, but they're actually looking really solid. And the skill level might not quite be there, given that again C is kind of a weaker region, but they're a good-looking team. They'll definitely be very well prepared, and they want to win Worlds. And one of their players has already done it. Wins especially as well. Another player to look out for. He's phenomenal
Yeah.
in the jungle.
Well, we'll see whether he can make it through, but I do want to cut it as short as possible because we can get on to the best team in the world. Team
Absolutely
Solomid
no bias.
TSM! TSM!
TSM.
Okay, seriously though, all my
Seriously
bias
though,
aside,
seriously though, they are the best team in the world.
Okay, seriously though, T-Gun, do you think TSM are going to be able to make it out of this group? Because I remember watching the group draw and I saw this happen and I thought it was Christmas.
Yeah.
I think every TSM fan around the world celebrated. Crepos like just going crazy, so happy.
Shirts off, airplanes
Yeah,
to the house,
yeah.
you know. I think if there was a group that they could get out of, this would be the group, you know.
Yep. Well,
let's
there's no
be quite
Korean
frank
team in
here.
this group.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
we
be frank
good.
here. It's one of the weaker, if not the weakest group, and they have a good shot at getting out. If they will, however, I'm not sure. They might have nerve being on the world stage again. They don't seem to do too well against international teams. They do so well in the NA LCS, just consistently strong. Not sure if it translates into Worlds though.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, when TSM, historically played against these international teams, things were a bit depressing as a TSM fan.
This team just has so much talent. They're like Bergson as a mid laner has so much potential. He's basically the new CLG. Just like he's all 5 of them. From last year.
He's just the word potential in a champion.
Yeah, he should get
Okay.
like CLG's logo tattooed in his chest.
Just name change to potential. It's much easier to say than
TSM
Greg
potential would have
Eriksen,
been beautiful.
Best name
But in all
Fended.
seriousness, a player that's arguably overrated as a Western player, but clearly very strong. And this team the roster's very new, remember? Like last one came in, I believe week 10 of the 11-week LCS split.
Yep.
And managed to finally beat Cloud9 in the NALCS playoffs, which they'd never done before. Curious to see just how well they play, because they have all of the makings of a world-winning team.
Yep.
It's just a matter of whether or not they can put it all together and, get that synergy going before Worlds going, because they had, I believe, the least amount of time to prepare for any region.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that, they've got Amazing in the jungle who had a few teething issues earlier on when he did replace the odd one, so see whether they do manage to do that. But another thing I just want to quickly talk about is Lust Boy and Wild Turtle.
The Guardian.
And yeah, Lust Boy, he played with
protector.
Captain Jack. He was just, I'm going to protect this guy. He's going to be over here, and I will just block everything ever. It's fine.
He knows.
Yeah.
But he's like, Braum gets released, he's like, yes. I can literally protect Last Boy.
And now I'm the best support in the world. Don't worry.
No, see, like, Last Boy is great. Again, this team has really kind of found its stride, it feels like. Everyone in their position feels like a TSM player. And a very new team, a team that looks much more focused with all the changes, both within the roster and outside, with coaching, with Lokodoku coming in, with Reggie kind of stepping back as more of a manager as well. Again, all the makings of a great team here. I think it's safe to say they're the NA hope for Worlds. But we'll have to see. I mean, I don't. TSM are a team that I think have a lot of passionate fans, obviously.
Yeah, a couple of them right here.
and either win big or lose big.
Yep.
And I think this tournament's going to be a big test for this roster.
Yeah, I think we won't know until it actually happens and you guys witness TSM coming out first in this group. But I think that's enough. I've indulged myself enough. Let's hop over to our next group. This is, of course, going to be Group C, and I kind of want to get through this one as quickly as possible because it scares the living heck out of me.
Yeah,
Just run away.
This group is scary.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. But the first team that we're going to look at is from North America, but also China, Team LMQ, finishing, I think it was third in the end, yes?
Beating Curse.
Beating
In a
Curse.
very dramatic.
Yeah, and
best of
Curse
five.
were actually looking super good
Yep.
towards the end of that split. But we're not going to talk about them because they're not in Worlds. All right?
Sorry.
Do love Voyboy, but not in Worlds. And LMQ coming up huge. Vasili's massive. T-Gun having a look at
Literally
the bottom
and
lane.
figuratively. massive.
Vasili's a pretty big guy right
He
there.
is
And he's
a
also
scary
not bad
unit.
at handicap.
Okay, so we're not allowed to actually say anything bad about Vasily just in case he kills us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Carbon will team up and beat you.
Oh, God. I'm done. Yeah. Okay, T-Gun, though. Do you think LMQ has a chance in this group?
Yeah, they definitely have a chance. The problem is, like I said before, they didn't do too well in the Chinese scene. Now, I believe that's just because they didn't hit their stride as a team. They came over to NA, they had a lot of time to prepare, and then they hit their stride, and they show us what they can do in their
Vasily.
stride. They go beast mode, 4-0 first week, coming in strong. If they bring that first week sort of strength in there and they come out strong, they can definitely easily get out of groups and then maybe turn that into a good amount of momentum and just truck through games. If that happens, though, it's questionable, you know. They started to pitter-patter off at the end of the season. you know. They went so well, finished second in the split, and then almost not even make it to Worlds. So it's, like I said, it's just a momentum game, and if they can get it going.
Yeah, they've definitely had consistency issues for sure as a team. They came in so strong when they started.
They
the
did have
NALCS
management
split.
issues throughout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's been a
so,
couple of things going on as well. We obviously don't know all the details there, but LMQ are a really strong team in a region that's really been picking up this year. NA looked interesting at times this last split just because of how hectic it was, but clearly everyone's leveled up from last year. You know.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, Koreans are still very, very good, and everyone's scared of them, and rightly so. But LMQ, in this group, arguably one of the weakest, if not the weakest team, given the lineup we have here. But a great team, and if they can fix a lot of their consistency issues, they'll look really good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Calling LMQ weak when they're in a group is a good indication for how scary this group is.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, let's go to our second team from the Chinese LPL. It's going to be OMG. And these guys looked phenomenal last year, especially. And Cool in the mid lane is a monster. And
Freakish in the mid lane.
yeah,
Incredible.
crazy. But Julian, do you want to start us off? We'll let
Yeah.
you just go full stride in the LPL.
So continuing my trend of making ridiculous claims about Chinese players on this show.
Best in the world.
Cool, for my money, might be the best mid laner at this tournament. Just at this tournament. I don't think he's the best mid laner in the world. He's
we've got the
very,
best
very
players
Yeah,
in the
this-
world. What
this
are you
is the
talking
best in the world.
about?
Well,
If
no.
he's the best at this tournament, he's the best
Oh,
in the
best
world.
in this group, is that what you're saying?
No, best in the tournament.
All
The
right,
best
well,
mid
that's
laner
best in the world.
this
Yeah.
tournament.
Best in the world.
Faker didn't make it. Is he still the best?
Oh,
Well, he
okay.
got dismantled.
Okay.
He can't be the
okay.
best, Vic.
Well,
Fair
Pawn
enough.
didn't really struggle too much, although it's to do
And-
with Faker focusing on other lanes. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Look, I
Fair
mean,
enough.
Cool's really good. Is basically what I'm trying to say. All hyperbole aside.
Yeah.
The heart and soul of this team, for sure, him and Loveling. If they can get going, this team looks like almost like old school M5 with the Diamond
Yeah.
Alex synergy. They tear through people when they get a chance. But again, they've been having some issues, having some consistency issues. Depending on which OMG shows up to Worlds, they're either going to be the scariest team and are one of the best dark horse picks, I think,
Yep.
for a team to just run over this tournament unexpectedly, or they'll kind of whimper and die, and which will be very sad.
Very sad,
like a
especially
Yeah, and
for
especially in
guy.
this group. This group is as terrifying as the entirety of the Samsung White roster. Okay? that's how scary this group is.
Oh, wow. So it's like you're just playing against Samsung White
Yeah.
the whole time, but there's more of them.
Yes.
That is pretty
It's all of
frightening.
them.
Tigan, what do you think about OMG? Do you think that they've got a shot?
It's like you said, it all comes down to consistency. If their jungler and mid can link up and just become the terrifying beasts that we know they can be, then yeah, they have a darn good shot. They have a good shot to take out the tournament. It's tough to call them a dark horse because they are such a good team.
Yeah.
But you put them up against the best of the world, and that's what you get. I guess you could say it's a dark horse for those that aren't too well in the know from the Chinese league, because at the end of the day, a lot of people in the Western seed, they don't know that much about the Chinese league. So OMG might be coming in as a dark horse, but they have a very good shot of at least making a deep run.
Yeah, and they've been a little bit weird over in the LPL, coming in through with a few games that were just a bit strange, getting it
Yeah.
destroyed and then ripping people apart. So
I said it about TSM earlier, but
Yeah.
OMG, they're the definition of like go big or go home, basically. Like either win massively, just crush people in ridiculous ways, or they fall over and die.
yeah, if
Do
that first ridiculous 4-man dive mid doesn't work,
Yeah.
they're going home.
it. Yeah. No, but
It's
like,
a fun thing to do.
Yeah, and I'm stalling on OMG at this point just because I'm a little bit frightened of the next team that's in this group. This is, of course, going to be Samsung Galaxy Blue. If we bring it up on your screen, there it is. And they've got the longest name for a reason because they are the biggest, most scary team in this group. I reckon.
Characters in the name equate to how good you are, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be Dade's redemption. That's what I'm saying. After he was of course Worlds last year, MVP Ozone, didn't necessarily do quite so well, but now his champions are good again.
yeah, everyone's kind of saying that about Dade. It's like, well, is he good? It's like, I don't know. His champions are good. I don't know if that's the
He's
same
relevant
thing.
again.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, he's really good, and his team's not bad either. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, they're all right. Take them or leave
I
'em.
don't think they have nearly the same amount of hype as maybe White do. It's this incredibly imposing team, but they're the favorites in the group of death,
yes.
which means they're obviously very, very good. So I'm interested to see what happens here. Spirits, I think, are a really cool jungler. I like a lot of their team.
Yep.
And as you said, Dade's just a beast. He's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, well, hype doesn't win tournaments. Being good wins tournaments. And that's what we have here. A
They're
darn
both good
team.
and hyped. Thankfully for them.
I mean, like you said, favorites in the group of death. If you're a favorite in a group of death, you've got to be a favorite for the whole tournament.
They're
This is
also
my
first
pick.
seed from Korea.
Yeah,
Doesn't that just
my
immediately
pick
make
right
them the
here.
best team in the world? Like, isn't that the Monte
Yeah.
Cristo thing?
Well,
you know?
isn't that why we have worlds to determine the best team?
Yeah. We have to determine the best Korean team.
Yeah,
Just to see another
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
with
just
the
have
best
Korean
Korean
teams and a
team.
bunch of fillers.
yeah, got it.
Yeah,
training partners.
it's sort of the cop-out answer because, like you said, they're the first Korean team, and I'm going to pick them as the best team in the tournament. But if you're favourite in the group of death, I don't think they're going to have a trouble in their group or in the tournament.
Wow. Big call from Tigan. But let's go and have a look at our next group because I just do not want to have a look at Group C anymore. course, it has been brought up on our screen yet again, which is something that we... Oh, actually, hang on. I'd skipped Fnatic
How can you skip Fnatic?
because I knew that they were going to lose.
To be fair, everyone skips Fnatic in the EULCS. They play for 11 weeks, but then Fnatic wins anyway.
Oh,
So-
my goodness.
except for this playoff,
Yeah, except...
which was a weird change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alliance won the split,
They
so
did.
it's sort of tide changing, but it's there's history behind it. You know, people forgetting Fnatic and then them just coming in.
Yeah,
strong.
and I mean, Fnatic, everyone kind of says this, but they show up when it matters, usually.
Winning when it matters.
If Worlds doesn't matter, I'm a little bit worried about the Fnatic team, to be perfectly honest. But this team's awesome. Reckless, obviously, the star
Well,
player of
he's
this
the one to
team.
talk about, isn't he? Because he wasn't in Worlds last year, of course. Couldn't
Yes.
play.
Yeah, Pusha was playing instead. Fnatic had a really good run, I believe, exiting in the semi-finals, if my
Yeah.
memory serves me correctly. And now they have arguably a much better player here in Reckless, who's been spending finally his year actually getting to play in the LCS.
Not to mention the fact that playing over in Korea now in solo queue.
Yeah, he's been doing
What
well.
his statistics when I checked about 3 days ago, it was like 9 quadra kills, 2 pentakills.
Oh,
This
yeah.
guy is just
That's fun.
destroying people all
He's
across
carrying
the
through
map.
Korean solo queue, and that's a
Oh,
hard
yeah.
thing to do. I think if there's a dark horse team in this group, it's going to be Fnatic.
Well, I
Just
obviously think
because-
so because I barely even know that they're in the group.
We almost brushed past him.
Yeah.
Just because they sort of have that thing where they just come out of nowhere, you don't even see them, and then they just beast mode people. And of course, I just want to see a repeat champion, so I want to see Fnatic do well.
Yeah, and they just recently got new skins as well. So
That's the important thing. Here.
yeah,
Obviously.
yeah. So now they've finally got their Fnatic skins. I can now pretend to be Suche.
Fnatic,
It's gonna be
Fnatic
great.
seriously have a really good shot here, and this group is really scary. But again, they tend to show up when it matters. They've got a really good team. They've got a ton of experience behind them.
Oh yeah.
If any Western team is going to make a deep run, it's likely Fnatic. It's just a matter of which Fnatic do we see. Do we see sort of shaky, inconsistent, not so sure themselves Fnatic, or do we see the absolutely terrifying team that's won, I think, 3 LCS splits?
Just an incredible amount. Do we see the Reckless that's carrying through solo queue?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Reckless, I almost feel like he's never had to really put the team on his back. He just hasn't been put in that situation where Soaz and Pekka haven't carried him out of enough situations. They didn't need to go big. But in this tournament, if you're a Fnatic, everyone needs to step up if you're going to do well, especially in this group. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if Reckless steps up, man, again, talk about players with potential. This kid's only 17. He's got plenty of potential left.
Yeah, man's got some room to grow. Definitely does. So let's have a look at our next group now, because I managed to get through all of the teams in Group C.
Hold on.
The first team we're going to be having a look at is, of course, Kaboom eSports.
And
Out of Brazil.
unfortunately, I think the cool way you said their name is about the best thing we can say about this team.
Wow.
No mention of the Brazilian fans and how fanatical they
These
get
guys,
behind
it's
these-
the only team that knows how to play the best champion in the game. Okay?
The Brazilian, to their credit, the Brazilian fans are awesome. I've had the pleasure of casting some Brazilian teams before, and there is no one more excited in your Twitch chat than Brazilian fans. I once casted a qualifier, I believe, from Australia in European time zones, and we went from something ridiculous like 8 to 3 in the morning, and we were like wrapping up our last game, and apparently people from Riot in Brazil were like, please cast the last game, it's a Brazilian game. So we ended up staying up an extra hour to cast more games just because they wanted to see it so badly. And they're really, really fun, passionate fans. But this team, I mean, could do some cool stuff. Who knows?
Like
teams,
pick Mordekaiser?
teams could definitely make the mistake of underestimating them. But a team kind of like Dark Passage, I guess. These wildcard teams in general, not expected to do that well, but that is actually their greatest advantage.
That's why they're called a wildcard team.
Yeah.
Correct.
I was going to say
Nailed
the
it.
same thing. They have the dark passage type thing going for them where they can maybe slide under the radar, teams won't prepare for them, and then bust out a Mord pick and
Yeah.
beast mode people with it. Simple fact of the matter is, just like hype doesn't make you win a game, fans aren't going to make you win a game. It's brilliant that the Brazilian fans are so much behind them, but I just don't see them getting out.
I will say, though, if this team starts winning games, I think the momentum they could get is actually quite scary.
Depends how many Brazilians there are in the crowd. I mean, if there's Brazilians in the crowd.
Doesn't matter, no.
They
You
are
can
gonna
hear
be-
them from Brazil. Okay? Don't even worry about that.
all right, sweet, we're fine. all right. So if you think that they get the momentum, they're going to be able to get through.
Oh, even with momentum, I just can't pick them to get out. of
You're
group.
like
I'm-
trying to be
I'm
optimistic.
not a believer. I'm not a believer.
All right, well, I'm getting upset because this is the team that's going to pick Mordekaiser, and I think that they're going to definitely win this whole group. But let's go to our second team in Group D. It's going to be Najin White Shield, and qualifying third in Korea means that you're probably the third favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also they
Tournament's
ran
already
the
decided. Why
gauntlet.
would
They
we
ran
doing
the
this
gauntlet
show?
in Korea. They came through almost every team, just swept their whole way up. they were looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about momentum before being important for teams. If there's one team in the world that's got all the momentum, it's this team, Shield. We've got a great, like, old-school carry top laner in Save. Gorilla's been playing crazy stuff on Ortigon. You're a big fan of his genre. This team's awesome, and they're on a roll. And coming into a big tournament like Worlds, that matters a lot.
I think the biggest thing they have going for them right now is that Samsung didn't even think about them coming in this. They were thinking SKT was their biggest opponent. And then Margin White will come out of nowhere, beast mode every Korean team that wasn't already qualified.
Yeah.
And
Everyone that wasn't Samsung.
Yeah, everyone that isn't Samsung. I think this
And that includes KT Arrows as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they beat all the other phone companies.
oh my goodness, confirmed for White Shields being the best way to call someone.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I'll just get out. Okay.
I think if there's a team that is going to win that isn't a Samsung team, it's this one. I must sound like Monte Cristo, loving Korean teams right here, and I'm going to cop that for a while.
I mean,
But yeah,
Korea is the strongest
a
team.
team with this much momentum, it's hard to just not pick them. And like with Kaboom, this is one of the reasons I don't see them getting out. Because you have a team like White Shield against them, how do they beat that, even with unconventional picks?
I guess it was probably a little bit rich for me to say top the group. So Kaboom's going to come second.
Over the next
Second,
few
easy
teams?
second. Well, speaking of the next two teams, let's move on. Let's go to Cloud9 from the North American LCS, qualifying through second, of course, so not coming through in the playoffs like they generally do.
They generally just
They
beat
generally
TSM
just
without
wreck everything. Yeah.
No, not even a chance to them. They
Yep.
faltered this time.
But it was a 5-game series,
Yeah, I know,
so of course
it was
looking
pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty close, and some would argue that Wild Turtles like triple crits with something. Okay, let's not. It wasn't a game-winning thing. Okay, just because Wild Turtles really great at getting crits.
Cloud9's
Not about that.
Cloud9's great though, and I don't know. We talk about the American dream and like the hope for NA.
Yeah,
Cloud9, I think, are definitely coming into this tournament looking to do really well. They're a team that has so much determination and so much synergy.
determ elimination.
Yes.
Wow, that was a stretch.
That was
that was a stretch.
that was definitely a card word.
How many is that? 3?
I don't know.
You're in the double digits by now.
Get more cards and twisted fake on the next show.
At least I
I'll just
said
be
it
like,
eloquently.
stick it all over you.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But Cloud9, a team that kind of wins or lose together, and everyone's always got each other's back. I mean, you think of Meteos, I guess, as the really central part of this team, but everyone's playing well, and Hai especially seems like he's really leveling up in Korean solo
Oh
queue.
yeah.
And Hai's a player that I feel like's never really unleashed himself on teams. Like, he's good, and he does make plays for his team, but Cloud9 is a weird team in that kind of everyone has the ability to make plays from any role, and that's what makes them so scary. And they're so objective focused. They're so good at working the map against arguably the teams that are best at doing that in the Korean. So again, it could be tricky, but if Cloud9 get better, perform better in than they did in the LCS split, they're going to look really, really good and might be the team that actually comes to the quarterfinals or maybe further for NA.
Okay, so if Cloud9 look better, they'll be better
Yeah, I mean, yes.
from pastry time.
But
Tegan,
2014.
let's have a look at the bottom
Thanks,
lane, of
guys.
course. Lemonation and Sneaky. Sneaky is so consistent, was playing some ridiculous Cogmore throughout the playoffs. Do you think that that's what's going to get them through?
I don't think that's what's going to get them through. I think what's going to get them through is, like Pastry said, they're all consistent. It's not about a star player. And I think that's what you need coming into Worlds. It's just a strong team where the opponent can't come in and go, you know what, we're going to focus on you. We're going to shut down
So
you.
SK Gaming, they're in.
The thing about Cloud9 is that they're really good at covering each other when something goes wrong. They're actually really good at damage control. One of the best teams I've ever seen. Be like, okay, we lost this objective. This guy got killed. He's getting picked on. Where can we make that up? And they make these decisions really, really quickly as a team. They've got incredible shot calling, which credit to Hai and Lemon there. They seem to be the brains behind the operation for Cloud9. Again, North America, not considered that strong a region, but if Cloud9 really show up at this tournament, then they're going to be a very scary team.
Yeah, and they, of course, have the wild card in their group, so there is a chance that they might be able to get through. Yeah,
Come on,
no,
man.
Kaboom announced
I'm going with unbiased.
I'm noticing a
unbiased.
trend.
Each
That
team
we
we introduce,
Yeah,
Kaboom,
Kaboom
just
seems to go
goes
lower.
So when
And
we get
Kaboom-
to the next team,
Well, I just obviously hadn't seen who was in the group yet. I was like, Kaboom, the only one in the group, they're going to win.
Yes, if it was a one-team group, I agree. They would also come out of the group.
Good. 10 out of 10.
The next team,
I'm
though.
really great at this. Okay, let's have a look at our next team. Now, let's get past Cloud9 and on to Alliance. Of course, first seed coming through from the European LCS. But, of course, some of the members not quite hanging in there in Korean solo queue. Wicked, a little bit upset about the fact that he can't carry from top lane. But what do you guys think about Alliance? The strongest hope for Europe?
I think this is the reason why I just can't pick an American team going through. Yes, TSM may have a weak group and they might make it out, but I don't see Alliance not getting out of this group. Cloud9, yeah, they're strong, but in history, it's always been Europe is better than NA, right?
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think Alliance is strong enough. I think Wicked maybe not being as good as he could be isn't going to be a huge factor here, and they'll just skate through. I don't think they're going to beat White Shield. I don't think anyone's going to beat them, to be honest.
Yep. Yep.
I think Alliance is going to come through second here. Might come through first based on the fact that it's best of one. They can pull something out. But solid pick here to go through.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance, we talk about Western teams and, like, keeping the dream alive and, getting through and beating the Koreans. I think Alliance actually have maybe the best shot of any Western team to have a really deep run at this tournament.
Wow.
Froggen is arguably the best Western player in the world.
Most hyped, at least.
He's certainly very hyped, that's true. But I mean,
Almost Bjergsen.
I feel like the difference between, and someone pointed this out, the difference between Bjergsen and Froggen is that they're both clearly very, very good. But Bjergsen just doesn't feel like he's that comfortable carrying, maybe still kind of getting into his roles like a shot caller and stuff like that. He's reaching his potential. But Froggen just comes into a lane and it's like, I'm going to win. He's so confident as a player. And he leads his team as well, which is really important. So Alliance looking good. Shook, by the way, outstanding player. I think if anyone's going to make this group look, make Alliance look good in this group, I think it's going to be Shook. Shook's been playing phenomenally.
And do you think that that's sort of a good thing as well, is because the meta's shifted around this sort of mid-jungle duo situation being very, very prominent, especially in the early game? Is that going to help Alliance here?
Yeah, I feel like League was in a weird place this year where this year's been all about mid laners. How many teams are in this tournament, let alone in the world, where we say, oh yeah, their mid laner's really good?
Yeah, they're focal point.
10 of the 16 teams maybe?
Yeah.
That we've talked about so far? Yeah, a lot. And I think the jungle role is kind of, people are adjusting to that now, because all the top 3 junglers were nerfed. Lee Sin, Elise, and Evelyn were all hit. And I think they're still good, but they're not the best jungler. So for me, maybe the best team in this tournament, or the team that wins, is the team that finds the best jungler that no one's playing yet. Maybe it's Kha'Zix, maybe it's Rengar, maybe it's something else entirely. But, I mean, you want to talk about best junglers, maybe Dandy's in there and White are just going to steamroll this tournament. But Shook's really, really good. And him and Froggen have incredible synergy. So if this year's been about mid laners, and I feel like this tournament maybe is going to be about junglers, Alliance have a pretty good shot.
Yeah, I reckon so too. But that is going to bring us to the end of our introduction of the teams. And now we're going to go through the first 2 groups. They're going to be playing off against each other starting tomorrow, actually, which is incredibly exciting. So let's have a look at the first group and just give our predictions as far as who's getting through, who's not. Throw some smack talk around, see how things are going. Because personally, I think it's Samsung Galaxy White and Dark Passage. No.
The dream's alive.
The dream is definitely alive.
Got to lose to the winners.
Yeah.
This is, unfortunately, I guess, one of the easier groups to call for everyone. I think everyone suspects both
I
the
think
Asian
the top
teams to go
1 and
through.
2 is what's really going to separate
that's the
what's
really
going on
interesting
here.
part, is it, everyone expects White and EDG to go through 1 and 2. The order that they go through in is going to be very important for the rest of their tournament if everyone assumes they're going through. And I actually don't know, in this kind of best of 1, best of 2 format, which of these 2 teams is actually going to come out ahead. It could be either of them, and that could really set up their tournament to be something even better in terms of getting further and getting to that finals and eventually winning Worlds.
And do you think that sort of hinges on this bottom lane of gods that's in both of these teams?
I think absolutely the bottom lanes for these 2 teams are, I mean, not the be-all, end-all. They're clearly very good across the board, but yeah, it's going to be an absolute battle in that in the bottom lane.
Okay, but you've got to make a decision.
You can't
You can't just flounder around. What's it going to be? Who's number 1, number 2?
I think it'll be. All right, I'm gonna go with my heart. Let's say EDG and EDG first, White second.
Oh, he's doing it. T-Gun, do you agree? Or are you an
No, of course
infamata
not.
I
fan?
agree
Look
that
at
he's a
his face.
fanboy.
Oh, no.
You agree that I'm wrong?
I agree that you are
That's sort
wrong.
of the opposite of agreeing.
Yeah,
No.
correct.
Without a doubt in my mind, White number 1. It's not going to change.
Okay.
I think there is a possibility, it's unlikely, that Edward don't come second. AHQ has that fairy tale run that we saw from TPA, come out of nowhere and just snag through groups and then maybe make a run. But I'm a realist, and I'm going to go with White first, Edward second.
Yeah, and I can't do it. I want to say AHQ so bad because the West Door factor, so beautiful, but I have to agree. I think it's going to be Samsung White and then Edward Gaming because, let's be honest, Samsung White just looks so incredibly good. Silly. Although, unless, Dark Passage. the Dark Horse Dark Passage.
No,
I believe
that would be a group.
Yeah.
I think
Holy Phoenix,
I think
Batman.
if only one Asian team made it out of this group, people would be shocked. I think if neither of them did, that would just be insane.
Yeah, so HQ and Dark Passage. Don't even worry, guys. The dream is still real.
Sorry, HQ is also Taiwanese, so and their team has to win.
Okay, yeah. So
Let's
it's definitely going to happen.
take both slots.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Khal Drogo just removes players from the teams. They can't play.
I don't want to mess with Holy Phoenix, man. He's scary.
Yeah. We should probably stop with the. Yeah, don't worry. Dark Passage is definitely getting through. Yep. Sheesh. Okay, but let's go over to Group B because I think there's going to be a little bit more contention here, especially with you guys. I, of course, already have my top two.
Yeah,
Nailed
TSM
it.
and
TSM followed by TSM, yeah.
TSM and TSM Evo.
Easy peasy. But Tegan, do you want to take us through your thoughts for who's going to qualify?
Sure. I don't think TSM is going to qualify. I know you both hate me right now. I'm getting a little bit of the evil eyes here.
Mostly him.
But I think
So unhappy.
I think TPA, they have, like I said, the backroom infrastructure to get through this group. They're going to know exactly what TSM do. So unless they come through with some maybe new strategies, new play style, they're going to get beaten here, and I'm going to pick it. TPA 1, Starhorn Royal Club 2.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a
That is
fan of TPA.
bold.
I'm going for the repeat
Very
victory.
bold.
I think they can do it. They obviously have the coaching staff. They obviously have the know-how. They have a person that's won, so he knows what he's doing. There's no nerves there, so maybe they'll be able to get through on it.
Yeah, I mean, this group has been described for TSM as fortuitous, I believe was the euphemism we decided.
That's the nice way to put
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I actually think this group is it's the world's. Every group is harder than it looks, for sure.
Oh,
Even this sort of draw. For me, I think SK probably have the least chance of making it out of this group, unfortunately for them. And I don't know, it's hard to call. I guess my instinct is to say Royal first, TSM second, so that's what I'll go for.
All right. Well, I'm definitely calling TSM first out of this.
Okay.
I'm definitely that's my call because I have to. Even if honestly, based on former international performances, things haven't gone quite as good.
It's a hard time to be a TSM fan.
It is quite difficult,
That's
but I'm
also
calling
known as
Type
every
A
time.
Assassin second because I want the repeat winner. Yes, I believe in BB. I think that guy's a monster, and I just think that they've been an organization for so long, and people underestimate the GPL. So we'll see whether that.
I think if Uzi doesn't, unless Uzi implodes,
Yeah.
there's no chance
the
TPS
ego
beating
issues
Royal.
come back. They weren't really
Yeah,
settled.
like
He
we're talking
lost
about-
Jungle Vein again,
Yeah.
so that they're screwed.
We're talking about two AD-centric teams here, and like one player is BB, who's fantastic, and the other guy's God. Almost in Uzi.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. It's less a prediction and more a hope.
I
And
mean,
a
I
dream.
think TPA certainly have a chance in this group. I think SK unfortunately do not for them, but we could certainly be surprised. But it's possible. I just think Royal are going to top the group, and I do think TSM
Yep.
are going to eke out TPA.
Oh.
It'll be close though. I think they'll eke it out for second.
Okay. Well, I definitely respect.
What do they put in
pastry
your
time
mugs?
now
Because
more
it's
than
clouding
Tega.
your judgment.
Well, we're not supposed to talk about that.
Poisoned by
They don't even know.
The mugs don't even exist.
Yeah. What is a mug? The mug is a lie. No, okay, let's actually get some structure back here because we're up to our next segment, and this is the big one. This is the big question. So guys, who is going to win the World Championship here for 2014? And who are they going to be against when they win it? First, T-Gun, let's start with you. Who do you think's getting through?
I want White Shield to get through, but I think it's going to be Samsung versus Samsung. It's going to be white and blue, and I think blue might just eke out a victory. Not 100% certain, but I'm pulling for him.
Julian, pace your time.
EDG.
EDG. Whoa!
3-2 over White.
3-2. Is
Over
that even?
Samsung White.
Is that even
I don't
possible?
know. I hope so.
Just because you casted their games doesn't mean you have to get behind them.
No, I actually think EDG are the third best team probably at this tournament. Oh, actually, that's hard to say.
I
But
think if EDG are
of all
getting
the
they're going to
Chinese
be
teams,
against blue.
I rooted for China
championship.
last year.
Yep.
OMG, let me down a little bit.
Unable to take those middle turrets fast enough.
Yeah, there was just too many turrets. on
Dives
there.
just weren't effective.
They played 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, they did. There's just too many turrets. If we had 3 games to be fine. It wouldn't be that many. No, I think EDG are China's best hope for winning worlds, and I'm going to cheer for a Chinese team. So EDG 3-2 over White, if it's possible. Other than that, but then they'll beat the other Samsung.
Yeah, just one of the Samsungs.
Yeah, just
EDG
EDG over
3-2
Samsung
over
in
over
general.
Samsung.
EDG 3-2 for sure.
Wow. Well, my prediction is going to be, of course, TSM. And I don't care who they're against. No. In all honesty, I'm predicting a Samsung as well. But I'm predicting White are going to take it. I think you said Blue, but I'm predicting White. Just
That's
considering...
a lie. You're picking TSM.
Well, I am picking TSM, but I know that they're probably not going to win. Let's be honest.
See, it's like when you pick a dream car, you have a realistic dream car, and I'm never going to get this, but I want
Yeah,
a dream car,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
TSM is the never going to happen dream car.
Yeah. So that's my
Doesn't
Lamborghini.
exist yet.
That's my Lamborghini over there, and I've got my Toyota Corolla, which I'm picking right now. It's going to be great. Well, TSM versus Blue. All right, I'm going to do it. I'm locking it in.
Right.
TSM versus Blue, and they're going to win 3-zip. And it's going to
Wow.
be boring to watch because they just stomp them so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah?
NA teams, boring to watch.
Yeah. By boring to watch, I mean it's going to be action-packed and full of killing. Yeah. That's
All
what
right,
I
You can
believe.
have
Full of
TSM.
blitzcrank?
No.
Please?
No.
Okay. For T-Gun, we'll say that they picked a blitzcrank. Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
I appreciate it.
Good. But that is going to bring us to the end of our broadcast here today for the world's Run Down Under. And I'd just like to thank Brad T-Gun Seymour, whose name is just really difficult for me to remember for some reason. I'm not going to lie to you.
Not a difficult name.
Really nice.
I know, just because I'm just so used to T-Gun everywhere. So, Brad T-Gun Seymour,
I think
thank you
you've
very
been
much for being on the show.
T-gun.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
T-Gun.
feel like your brain is just full of the TSM roster right now.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
Everyone's Dyrus.
Lost Boy, Bjergs, and Dyrus. Thanks for being on the show. And also, huge thanks to Julian Pastry-Time Car, whose name I definitely can remember, for being on the show with us. And, of course, everyone here in production. And we are going to be back next week. Do not miss it because it's going to be great. We're going to go through exactly what happened throughout this week. Of course, games starting tomorrow. So we're going to go through exactly what happens in the first two groups, and we are going to give you the predictions for our next two groups with some fun stuff thrown in between. So don't miss it, and we will see you this time next week. Thank you very much. I've, of course, been Max Atlas Anderson, and we'll see you next week.